What's up guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. And in today's video we got something different than so rare, because in today's video I will be ranking the best transfers from every single Premier League club in a tier list. And I have to say I'm kind of excited to do this, so I can talk to you guys in the comments about my decisions, about where I think certain players will be. And of course I will be explaining my decisions as well, so you guys can see if I have ball knowledge or not. But before we go into that, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments what other tier list, what other type of content you guys want to see on this channel, so we can make it happen. Now with that being said, let's go over to the tier list and start ranking the players. So as you guys can see, we have a tier list of 5 tiers with elite, excited, average, poor, and will flop. And I think we have like 30 players I've picked. Of course I didn't pick every single one, otherwise the video would be too long, but I've picked the best ones from every single club. And the first one that we have for this tier list is no other than Ian Maatsen, who of course played the Champions League final with Dortmund and has now made a transfer to Aston Villa. And I have to say, I think he will do well. I think a left back is kind of what Aston Villa needed. Of course I know they had Digne, they had Moreno. Digne was about to leave. Moreno has now been loaned out, I'm pretty sure. And I think Maatsen, even when he came on in the first game, he showed his class. He was really decent, and I am very excited to see what he can do in the Premier League, especially when he becomes a main starter, and of course in the Champions League as well. So I do think for Aston Villa this is a very exciting transfer. Then on to the second player, which is a guy who signed from Club Brugge to Brentford. We have Igor Thiago. And I have to say, I have watched a lot of Brugge last year, and he scored loads and loads of goals last year. But this guy is such a bad footballer. He's so bad. Like, goal scoring wise, he can do it, but I think it takes him too many chances. And I do think for the Premier League, for the high intensity, it will be too much for him. Especially once Tony leaves, if he needs to fill up his boots, don't think he will be able to do it. And that's why I think Igor Thiago will be a flop. But that's just on me. Then I think moving on to, I think this is Sar from Crystal Palace. He came over from League 1, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's a winger, right winger-ish. And I don't know too much about him. I know he has to fill up the boots of Olise, which is again a very hard task. Don't think he's the best finisher either. So I want to say it's an average transfer. I think I'm gonna put him at average. I don't think it's the best. He definitely has the quality, otherwise Palace would not have put him. And I do think it's definitely a Palace type of player, but I don't think I'm excited to see him, and I don't think he is elite either, so I'm going to put him at average. Then on to Ross Barkley, who had a decent season at Luton last year. Has now made a transfer to Aston Villa. And I have to say, it doesn't make any sense. Of course he's quality, don't think he will be a starter. So I don't think he will flop. I don't think he's average. I just think it's poor. Don't think Aston Villa needed him, but I think for a rotational player he can be good. He has shown his class last year 100%. Don't get me wrong. We know what he can do, of course, from his time at Everton. But yeah, I think it's a poor transfer for Villa. Definitely not needed, but still pretty alright. Then on to Cordova Reed from Leicester, or like for Leicester now, who in my opinion I've seen him play against Spurs it was, and this guy is such a bad baller. He's just not good enough for the Prem. I think he's just too slow. His passing, maybe it was just that game. I know I've seen him last year. I think it was for Fulham as well a few times. Just not the type of baller that I like and that I want to see in the Premier League personally. So I think he's pretty ass, and that's why I think he will be a flop at Leicester. I think for championship purposes he would be perfect. He would definitely be one of the bangers there. But for the Prem, I think it's a little bit too high for him, and that's why I have him in will flop. Then onto a guy who is half Dutch, half Spanish, I think it is, and he's come over from Juventus to Bournemouth, Dean Huijsen. And this guy, oh my lord, guys, this guy is talented. He's a very attacking center back, which is something you don't often see, and this guy knows how to finish, knows how to defend. He's very smart, and I think for Bournemouth purposes, this is a phenomenal transfer. Like, honestly, maybe I'm a bit biased because I'm Dutch as well, of course, but from what I've seen and from what I've heard from this guy is elite. This guy is absolutely elite, especially for the likes of Bournemouth. If he can make that step to the first team and starts playing regularly in the Premier League and actually like proves himself, this could be an elite transfer. And like on paper, with all the excitement, for me it is an elite transfer, especially for Bournemouth. So I'm excited to see what he can do, but for me it is an elite transfer. Then on to, who is this then? Oh, I don't know who this is. Is that a Palace player or is that a Chelsea player? Let me actually zoom in. Let me actually zoom in. Oh, who the hell is this? Oh, I know who it is. I know who it is. It's never mind. It's O'Brien for Everton. O'Brien, of course, the centre back signed from Lyon, went to Everton, and Everton haven't done the best of transfers or the most, but I do think O'Brien next to Branthwaite could be a solid partnership. I don't think it's anything amazing. Of course, he is still young, time to develop as well. It's not poor. I don't think he will flop. I think it's just average. It's just a decent Everton transfer. Nothing too great with it, nothing too bad with it, just decent. Then on to, I think this is Sinisterra, now from Bournemouth. We know he has experience in the Prem with Leeds. He is alright. I've seen him play at Feyenoord. In the Eredivisie he was very, very good, but I don't know if he will be that extra player that can do something. So I'm not too excited to see him at Bournemouth. I don't think it's a poor transfer. I think it's a decent Bournemouth transfer as well. So I want to put him in average as well. But yeah, that's just on me. Then another Bournemouth player in here. Let me see exactly who it is, because some of these players, guys, I don't know. Wait, is it a Bournemouth player? It is a Bournemouth player. It is is this Evan Nilsson? I think this is Evan Nilsson, I'm pretty sure, if I am not mistaken. I think this is Evan Nilsson from Porto. And this guy's quite exciting. I have to be honest, I think he's quite exciting. He's there, of course, to replace Dominic Solanke, who has left to Spurs, who is also on this list. So it is kind of exciting to see what he can do, if he will fit the Premier League, if he speaks the language, etc., etc. So he could definitely be an excited player from what I've seen from him in the Champions League, in the Portuguese competition. Like, I'm not saying I've watched him 20 times or 30 times, but from what I've seen, he is quite decent, and I do think if he hits the ground running instantly, he could be very, very exciting for the Premier League. Another guy who I think could be really, really exciting is a guy that I watched a lot last year for Feyenoord, or like at least in the Eredivisie, because I'm not a Feyenoord fan, but I watched Yankuba Minte, and for Brighton I think this guy could be really, really decent on the right. Of course, they have a lot of wingers already with Solly March, Mitoma, Adingra, Minte, etc. But I do still think Minte has the potential and the quality to perform at Brighton. I think Brighton is kind of the perfect team for him. So I want to say this is a very, very exciting transfer, and I actually hope to see Minte succeed this season. And I'm excited to see what he can do for that Brighton team. Then on to Fabio Carvalho, who of course left Liverpool now for Brentford, where he wants to make first squad minutes. And I have to be honest, I'm excited to see him play for a first team, play 90 minutes, hopefully week in, week out, for maybe a worse team than Liverpool, of course, but still a Premier League side. If he can do well, would be lovely to see. And he actually had a good preseason at Liverpool as well, and I know what he can do. He's quality, and I just love him. So I hope at Brentford he can concede, and I'm just really, really excited to see what he can do, what he can bring to the Brentford team, and hopefully Brentford can stay up as well this season with him. So in my opinion, a very, very excited transfer. Let me know in the comments, by the way, if you guys agree so far with me on my list, or if you would change anything, let me know as well. And of course, don't forget to like this video if you guys are enjoying this. Then on to Ruter, who came from Leeds and went to Brighton. I think it's an average transfer. He's quite decent for like of course he was phenomenal in the Championship, but now can he do it in the Premier League as well? I think for Brighton purposes, it's just a decent Brighton transfer. Nothing amazing, nothing too bad, just average. Then I think we have Pedro Neto in here, and I have to be honest, I don't like the freaking Chelsea transfers. I think they have too many players, and I know Pedro Neto, people like him a lot, this and that. I just think because of this Chelsea squad at the moment, this might be a very, very rogue shout, and I'm sorry Chelsea fans, I'm sorry Pedro Neto fans. I think he will flop just because of the squad. They have 40-50 players, and I know Maresca said in an interview that he only uses 20 to 30 players. I just don't think, with all the random people they've got at the moment, I don't think it will work, especially not this season. I hope I'm wrong, because I kind of rate Neto. I just don't think it will work out at Chelsea, and that's why I have him at will flop. Then onto another Chelsea goalie. Jurgensen, like, it doesn't make any sense. You already have Petrovic, you already have Sanchez, you still have Kepa. Why the hell would you pick up Jurgensen? The transfer just doesn't make any sense to me, and that's why I have him at poor. We've seen it many, many times now with Chelsea when they pick up a number one goalkeeper and they just all flop. And I think Jurgensen is solid. He should have stayed at Villarreal for another season, so that's why I have him at poor. Could potentially even be a flop. I think actually I might swap Neto and Jurgensen. I think Jurgensen is just poor because it just doesn't make any sense. Like the first game, he was on the bench as well for Robert Sanchez. I think Sanchez is good enough to be Chelsea's number one. So bringing in Jurgensen just doesn't make any sense, and it's just a waste. I think Pedro Neto at poor just because they have so many players already. They have Madueke, Sterling, Palmer, Dewsbury Hall, and Kunku. Like, just stay at Wolves and play 90 minutes, you know. But it is what it is. These are just my opinions. Then on to another Everton transfer where we have Ilian Ndiaye, who is their main striker now, who came over, I want to say from France as well, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not exactly too certain what league, but definitely a good one. And for Everton purposes, I want to say it's average. It's nothing amazing. It's not like a big hitter, but he is quality. He has some qualities that especially Everton need, especially after last year where they didn't score enough goals. Defensively they were great, but attacking wise they were very, very poor, and hopefully he can switch that around. But for now I think he's average. I'm not like excited to see him. I don't think it's an elite transfer, just average, just decent for Everton. Then on to Amadou Onana from Aston Villa. And I have to say, I'm excited to see what he can do. I've watched his first game as well against West Ham, scored a header instantly, and just phenomenal. Like, he bossed that midfield, came over from Everton, is Premier League proven already, still young, just a great player. So excited to see what he can do at Villa. Then Calafiori, elite. Absolutely elite. Mikel Arteta knows exactly what he is doing. Of course, we watched him in the Euros. He was phenomenal there for the minutes he played. At Bologna, he got them to the Champions League final. He's an attacking left back as well. Left back, centre back even. I think he perfectly fits the Arsenal system. Especially because last year they played Zinchenko there, who was awful. Now they have the likes of Timber coming back. Calafiori is now there. Just think it's elite. And I think he really fits Arsenal. So really good transfers there for Arsenal. Then Mats Wiever for Brighton. Watched him a lot. Think he's really good. And I'm excited to see what he can do in the Premier League. I have to be honest. Wasn't biggest fan at him when he was at Feyenoord because I'm an Ajax fan. But still, I know he's class. I know he has a lot of qualities. So this could be an interesting transfer. And for Brighton, I think he's absolutely perfect. Now that Pascal Gross has left, is a good replacement for him. So I am excited to see how he will be doing at Brighton. And if he can fill up that gap that Gross has left. Then Emil Smith-Rowe from Arsenal to Fulham. And I've rated this guy for a long time, and I think he should have left way earlier because he is a baller. He's an absolute baller, and I'm excited to see what he can do at Fulham. He just needs 90 minutes, something he would never have gotten at Arsenal if he stayed there. So I'm happy that he left. He is a starter now at Fulham, it seems like. The first game against United wasn't the best, but I'm expecting a lot from him, and I'm excited to see if he can finally fulfill his potential. So I'm happy with that. Then Aaron Wan-Bissaka to West Ham, great transfer again. He should have. It's good that he left United. I think it's an average transfer, just decent. Like West Ham, we're looking at another right back instead of Koufal or Soufal, and I think Wan-Bissaka is definitely a guy that can perform there. So just a very decent average transfer, nothing amazing, nothing shiny, but really good. Then Sugawara from AZ, he went to Southampton, of course. Definitely fits the system. And at AZ he was really good. From what I've seen from the first game of Southampton, they look quite alright. I don't think it's an elite transfer, but safe to say, excited or average. I don't think he will be good enough for the Prem, so I'm gonna put him at average. I think it's definitely better than poor. I think average is right here. I think he definitely fits Southampton. Like the system, he's a good quality right back, knows what he's doing, always gives 100%, so that's why I have him at average. Then another Fulham transfer here in the likes of Sessegnon, who came over from Spurs, and personally, guys, I don't rate the guy. I don't rate him. Poor will flop. I just don't rate him. I think for Fulham purposes, it's not a good transfer either, so I'm gonna put him at poor. but it's close to a will flop in my opinion. So I'm gonna put him at poor, and see what will happen there, and just see what will happen there. So Sessignon at poor. Then moving on to, I think this is Delap, who came over from City to Ipswich. Will he be the main man? Can he carry Ipswich to like 17th place, 16th place? Can he keep Ipswich in the Premier League? I don't think so. And of course, I rate the guy. It hurts me to put him in will flop, because I've seen him the first game week against Liverpool. He was quite decent. He absolutely bossed Konsa. But I'm gonna put him at poor. I think it's just a poor transfer. Don't think he will flop necessarily, but I think for Ipswich purposes, they needed someone that was Prem proven already, which Delap isn't. And I like him a lot. Don't get me wrong. In 3, 4, 5 years, I can see this guy being a baller. But right now, I don't think he will be good enough for Ipswich to keep them in the Premier League, and that's why I have him in poor. But trust me, I rate the guy 100%. Then Yoro, who went to United, is injured already, of course. I think he's 18 or 19. Solid defender, high hopes for him. But for United, I think when we're looking at their centre-backs, now they have Lisandro and Maguire, of course, and Lindelof, before the summer transfer window started. I think I'm excited to see him. I think I'm excited to see if he really improves that United defense. Of course, they picked up another centre-back, which is also on the list as well, and we will be covering that in a moment as well. I think Yoro, I'm excited. If he gets back on the field, excited to see what he can do, if he can handle the Premier League pressure, the Premier League pace, etc. Because I think he definitely has the qualities to be in the new Saliba, maybe. So, a decent one. I'm excited. Then, Kamada from Crystal Palace. I think he came from Eintracht from the Bundesliga, or maybe Stuttgart. I'm not too sure. Either way, he came from the Bundesliga to Palace. I just didn't think it's a good transfer for Palace. I'll put him in average. Nothing amazing there. Then Fulkrug to West Ham. They needed a forward. Antonio was absolutely ass last year. Bowen as a 9 is alright. Nothing amazing. But now they have a real number 9 in Fulkrug. And yeah, it's just something that West Ham needed. Don't think he's the main guy, the best of the best. Just a good striker that West Ham needed. Just a decent one. So I'm going to put him in average right now. Then we kind of need to speed up. Otherwise this video will be taking too long. But if you guys are still here, then let me know who your favorite Premier League team is. And of course, do you agree with my decisions so far? Now, moving on to another Leicester player, which is Buenanote. And I think Buenanote, I have to be honest, he came from Brighton to Leicester, and from what I've seen in the first game, he was absolutely elite. The question is though, will he be good enough for Leicester City this season to keep them up, to prove that he's actually a Prem baller? So for that reason, I can't put him in elite. So I'm gonna put him in excited to see. I'm excited to see what he can do for that Leicester team, because he definitely has the quality. Was also linked to Feyenoord, but decided to go Leicester instead, and I think that's a good decision for him, because he wants those Premier League minutes. Then on to Sander Berge, Prem proven. Just don't like him. I think it's a poor transfer. I don't think for Fulham purposes it's a big upgrade on anyone. He's there to replace Palinha. Just not the biggest fan of Sander Berge. He's pretty average, nothing amazing. So I'm gonna put him at poor. Then Joshua Zirkzee for United, of course. A half number 10, a half number 9, a 9.5, as he would say himself. I'm excited to see what he can do. I know I have a lot of players that are excited. I'm thinking about it. He had a good season at Bologna. Do I think it's an elite transfer? Not really. Not really, to be honest. I don't think it's an elite transfer. I think it's a good one. So I'm excited to see what he can do. If he actually can perform, if he can make like I think people are expecting a lot from him, especially because Højlund wasn't performing. Højlund is now injured as well. So I'm excited to see what he can do. Then Dewsbury Hall, Chelsea. I think he will flop. As I said, no hate to Chelsea whatsoever. I just think how the club has been run, the transfers they are making just doesn't make any sense. And I think Dewsbury Hall should have stayed at Leicester another year, played there, and just went through with his form. You know, at Chelsea he will probably be a bench / rotational player. Can't see him doing too well. I think he will be a flop. Then Savinho came over from Girona, of course, the City group, and now at Manchester City. I think because they already have loads of wingers and the Pep Roulette, I think it's for him, it's a poor slash average transfer. If I could, I would maybe the first of poor slash low average, because with like a guy his age just needs to play week in week out, and he was absolutely phenomenal at Girona. I do think for the future it's a good transfer. I'm gonna put him at average, because I like the guy. I like the guy a lot. It's not like I'm excited to see him at City, because his flair will probably be a little bit less, because with Pep Guardiola, it's attack, and then go back like we've seen with Grealish and stuff. But definitely a good transfer for City, especially for the future, which I like a lot. Then Matthijs de Ligt, who in my opinion after Ajax hasn't been too well, but I think for his career and for Manchester United this could be an elite transfer. This could definitely be an elite transfer, as I hope under Ten Hag and next to Lisandro Martinez, his old Ajax partner, De Ligt could potentially get back to his best with also his old goalkeeper Andre Onana behind him. And I do think with them three knowing each other already, that could be a really good upgrade to the United defense, and that's why I have him in elite. It might be a little bit too high, I know that, don't get me wrong. I am just expecting a lot from De Ligt during the season, especially if he starts next to Martinez with Onana behind of him. And to finish off with the United transfers as well, we also have Mazraoui in here, also from the old Ajax team, and I think I'm excited to see what he can do as well. Might be a little bit biased in here because I am an Ajax fan, and of course correct me if you think I'm wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, of course. It's just my opinion, and I just think De Ligt is elite, and I just want to see what Mazraoui can do, because now that Wan-Bissaka has left, Dalot is still there, of course, but Mazraoui can play on the left, on the right, Dalot can play on the left, on the right, and Shaw always being injured, that's something you absolutely need. So I'm excited to see what Mazraoui can do, and I think De Ligt is an elite signing. Then Archie Gray to Spurs, very talented, and if he starts making minutes, this could be an elite transfer. It could be, but the fact that he's still only 18 years old, not really prem proven, I want to say I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he can do in a Spurs shirt. He will be a bench player for this season, I'm pretty sure, or at least for the beginning of the season. So for now, it's alright. Nothing amazing, nothing too bad. Then Kilman, who came over from Wolves to West Ham, and this might seem like a very weird one as well, but I think this is an elite transfer. And why is that? West Ham picked up one of the best centre backs in the league last year from one of their rivals, Wolves, and the first game I saw against Villa, he was elite. I think he will be really good for West Ham, and especially for that push to like the top 8, top 9, maybe European football. I think he's him. I think he's good, so I'm really excited to see what he can do. Then Calvin Phillips to Ipswich. It's average. It's nothing amazing, but for Ipswich purposes, it's definitely a guy that they needed. A guy with experience, a guy who has proven himself, a guy who's played for England many caps. He's really good. Average transferred here for Ipswich. Now we have 4 players left. We have Berton Diaz, Dominic Solanke, Summerville, and Strand Larsen. And I'm gonna start off with Berton Diaz, who is an average baller. I don't like him. I don't rate him. I think he's ass. What he did to Shar, this guy just is just act. He's just an actor. Don't think he's good enough for the Prem. Think he will be a flop for Southampton, unfortunately. Then Dominic Solanke, elite transfer here from Spurs. They finally have their Harry Kane regen, the guy that needs to score the goals. Dominic Solanke had a phenomenal season at Bournemouth last year, and this is just a step up for him, step up for Spurs, step up for everyone. It's just a win-win situation. Hopefully he does well for them. It's, in my opinion, an elite transfer. Only thing that I don't like about the transfer is the fee. 75 mil is too much. If we talk 55, 60 mil, it would be alright, but 75 is a lot of pressure for the guy. But I think it is a very good transfer, and one that was actually needed for Spurs. Then Sicrencio Somerville, player of the year in the championship last year at Leeds. Like him a lot, Dutch as well. Excited to see what he can do. Very fast, very technical. Hopefully he can perform at West Ham with the likes of Kudus, Paqueta, Bowen, and of course Fulkrug being there. He will potentially be coming from the bench, but I know what he can do. He always has like a few spells each season, so I'm just excited to see when that spell comes. And then, last player on this list already, we have Jurgen Strand Larsen, who came over from Celta de Vigo to Wolves. And I have to be honest, guys, it's a poor transfer for Wolves. It's a poor transfer. Like, the guy didn't perform in La Liga. After he left the Eredivisie, he wasn't too well. I don't think he's good enough for the Prem. Talented, yes he is, but just not good enough for the Prem. So I'm gonna put him at poor. And I think with that being said, we have 5 players in elite, loads of excited and average, and then a few poors and a few will flops. So have a good look, guys, before I tell you guys that. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm right or wrong. And of course, if you guys enjoyed this video, then make sure to subscribe to our channel down below.
And we'll see you guys in one of our videos.
Peace.